Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer action. And did you know, back in the day, before I loved Pistoliers, I loved another missile cav? Yes, it's true, my first love of missile cav comes from Goblin Wolf Rider archers, who have 60 unit models, are very fast, and are dirt cheap, which is literally the best thing about them. 350 points for a unit of missile cav, 60 models, only 1 AP per shot, but again, 60 models is okay. And, yeah, did I mention they're very fast and cheap? So we've got 4 of them, including the Mangy Marauders, who actually have AP and immune to psychology for some reason. And we've also got 1 unit of regular Wolf Rider archers, rather, to contest melee. Ragnarok Queen, we've got some veteran gobos up front, 3 Black Orcs, Skarsnik leading the way with a Night Goblin Shaman. My opponent here coming in with High Elves, 2 Noble Chariots. He's got Reavers split out wide, Star Dragon and Alariel, a line of Spearmen, and 3 Archers. And you can see how I maneuvered my formation kind of up and around. I'm going to be trying to force kind of an overload on one side, and you guys will see me do this pretty often, and it's something you guys will see other players do as well, is to try and force concentrate in one area and win, and then kind of roll up the rest of your opponent's army. Here we're going to use the Ragnarok Queen and the Wolf Riders to heavily contest against the Reavers here, potentially pull Alariel and the Star Dragon away, but we do get some nice Fanatics casts, friendly firing a bunch of those gobos, but that's just fine. This second one I tried to throw all the way into the Archers, but unfortunately I misaligned a little bit, didn't quite get all the way back there. But the Noble Chariots run and chop on my Black Orcs in the back line, very cost effective for them. Meanwhile, in the front line, that initial Y engagement we got, that Y popped right at the beginning you saw there, did get some really good work done. Now, though, we're in a potentially dangerous situation. My Wolf Riders and my Summon Spiders getting terrified away. The Reavers also still fighting, so we're going to throw an Itchy Nuisance. The Star Dragon came and dove down, and a nice zap from the Night Goblin Shaman hitting Alariel, trying to keep up damage and pressure on her. We've also got all the Wolf Riders here, and this is, again, one of the main things that's in the benefits, Wolf Riders' benefit, is they're so cheap, and there's so many models of them, that even if they take hits, they'll probably still come back, and you can see how that kind of pulled the Star Dragon and Alariel away from the Spider here. The Spider now getting surrounded again, though, potentially dangerous, but here comes Skarsnik. Skarsnik is basically like a mini Spider, more or less. He doesn't have quite the same health pool. He has about 2,000 less HP in total, but I mean, 380 weapon strength versus 390 poison, anti-large AP. They're very comparable in terms of damage output. So essentially the Star Dragon now is having to fight all these Black Orcs and 2 Spiders, more or less. Remember, Skarsnik is basically the equivalent of a Spider in terms of punching power. And you can see that it's going to be a bad situation. A Foz Protection going to try and buff up the melee defense there, but Alariel and the other units being isolated. I'm having to use the Wolf Riders to just keep these chariots busy, but that is another good use for them. I had them over here kind of tying up the Wolf Rider chariots, just trying to keep them away from Alariel. We've also got some more Fanatics casts going in the back line. You can see a lot of the Spearmen starting to lose out, and I'm getting some good pressure on the Archers here as well. The Queen's taking a lot of damage from the Star Dragon, though. But, I mean, once the Star Dragon's isolated, I'm pretty comfortable that we can take it out. Even if the Queen does end up taking a lot of damage here, you can see Alariel is now going to get mashed up against Skarsnik. And just, again, Skarsnik's such a good combatant against large targets. Like, he's very, very underrated, especially because he has charged defense as well. And his high mass means that he can't really get knocked over. Like, he'll get consistent hits against whatever large target he's fighting. He's actually probably one of the best footlords in the game, in my opinion. Like, on par with Vlad or Morgurt, to be honest. Number one, because he's so cheap. Kind of like the Wolf Rider archers. And, again, he has really good punching power, poison, anti-large, armor piercing, great support buffs as well. You can see the Noble Chariot getting caught out now by the Spider, the Night Goblin Shaman also providing some hits in there as well, and most of the High Elf lines have kind of just crumbled here, got crumped. Black Orcs holding off a couple of rallied Spearmen there. You can see some of my gobos getting terrified away, but these Wolf Riders still able to just maintain this missile presence, and the reason I didn't bring Spider Riders here is in this situation they would definitely be poisoning my own units as well. I didn't really want that, so we'll just get the poison from the melee damage from, like, the Spider, and of course the Night Goblin Shaman also has poison attacks, as does Skarsnik. So even the Night Goblins in melee as well, like, we don't necessarily need the poison on our missiles here. We can get it from melee and then not poison our own units, like you often would with the inaccurate Goblin Archers. So, pretty good stuff there. The Star Dragon gets chased off, tries to come back and start chewing on these Wolf Riders, but again, because of that volume of fire presence there, it actually routs the Star Dragon. My opponent throws in the towel there. So, pretty fun stuff. That one was a little short, so I do have another one to show you guys, featuring Wolf Rider archers and Skarsnik, and a queen for that matter. But fun stuff. I mean, Alariel Noble Chariots and Star Dragon's kind of the meta build right now, and my opponent, I think the downfall was 2,500 points worth of spears getting 100% crumped by my infantry line. Like, considering that these Night Goblin Fanatics are, 500 points cheaper, and even with the veterancy, these Goblins are quite a bit cheaper as well. Not to mention, you've got the Black Orcs to clean up, and the Wolf Riders trading very cost-efficiently. Just ended up, I mean, that's 2,500 points worth of infantry just getting hard crumped. Even at that point, I mean, Alariel and the Star Dragon maybe could have carried, but it was going to be tough for sure. In this build, I mean, going with something like this can work pretty decently. I might go with not the archers and just more melee units, like even bring one more unit of Illyrian Reavers, and I don't know, honestly, maybe like a unit of Silverhelms or something. I don't know. You're just going to be so narrow at that point that a swarming Greenskins build like this is going to give you problems. But anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the next replay. Alright, and we're here again with the Wolf Rider Archers. We've got 3 of them this time, and this is against the Warriors of Chaos. So we've gone with a very kind of narrow, elite-centric build, and then the Wolf Riders are going to act as my mobile component. I've got 3 of the Archers, including the Mangy Marauders, 3 regular Wolf Riders, and we've got Black Orcs, and the 8-peak loons with an Arachnarok Queen, 2 Giants, and Skarsnik, who again is basically like another spider, and the Night Goblin Shaman. So a very narrow elite build. My opponent's got Sigvald, Shadow Sorcerer, a bunch of Forsaken, which is definitely not meta, and a whole bunch of Chaos Marauders as well. So we're going to start to break up the advance here with the spiders. I definitely don't want to get fully surrounded here, so again, you can see me kind of pulling back. I'm going to force concentrate over on this side and try and break all of these units very quickly. Especially because Forsaken have pretty poor melee defense, no missile block chance, and just low HP in general. You can see we get some nice Fanatics cast through here, and Pit of Shades for my opponent is reasonably well placed, does actually do a pretty good amount of damage to those Black Orcs, but I don't think it was overcast because it actually doesn't do that much armor-piercing damage. But yeah, Forsaken come in here, they're getting a little bit crumped. That cast does manage to kind of pop the Chaos Sorcerer, doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Oh, but did I mention there's double Shaggoths as well? Yeah, they're going to be coming in from this flank here, but because I've kind of singled out these units, you saw the Wolf Riders charge in, they get a rear charge penalty on those Marauders, and just immediately rout them while being popped now as well. As the monster fight gets underway, we've got the Giant and the Queen here, kind of unifying, the other Giant's slowly lumbering his way over as well. The Hounds come to pressure my Wolf Riders, but my Wolf Rider Archers, but then my Wolf Riders can come in and countercharge the Hounds in melee, especially with Wa active. They will win that pretty decisively. It looks like just barely wearing off, but the main kind of component to this is this giant blob here, right? The Giants fighting, we're buffing them, debuffing enemies here with Itchy Nuisance, trying to give the Giants or the Spider sneaky stabbing when we can, but just being able to get these Hounds terrified away very quickly is nice. And then, yeah, we've got some Wolf Rider Archers. These ones can maneuver up and around the flank and start to apply shooting penalties, like shooting into the back of a lot of these units. So really, really good stuff. And because, again, they're just so cheap, and being able to apply that leadership debuff for so cheap and get that consistent missile pressure against those light units, it's just so, so good. So we'll kind of keep the monsters in the foreground, the Wolf Riders in the background there as they maneuver around the flanks, getting some good Overwatch fire into those Forsaken. We're getting the melee ones to maneuver up and around momentarily, I believe. Nope, not quite yet. If we have a look at the actual health of the monster fight, you can see both the Shaggoths have taken a pretty significant amount of damage. This one maybe not so much, but one of my Giants has also taken a good amount of damage. And Sigvald is matched up on Skarsnik, which is not great for me. Sigvald is actually really good against Skarsnik specifically. But here we're going to apply a rear charge penalty with these Spiders. And we get a nice Fanatics cast that just cuts straight through this Chaos line as well, doing a ton of damage from those 8-peak loons. That is actually going to proc a Terror route. Forsaken are immune to psychology baseline, but their leadership is so low at this point. Also charging them with these boys, these Wolf Riders also get a Wa right at the right moment too, up to 21 charge bonus and 41 attack. Doesn't seem like much, but again, that 60 unit models of Wolf Riders means they have the extra models to get extra hits, and the Forsaken here just end up getting a mass rout, basically. Only 3 minutes in, we're able to basically clean up. Both of the Shaggoths are more or less down. Only really Sigvald survives there, so that's one of the reasons why I say Chaos Warriors is just better than Forsaken. They would have held up a lot longer in that engagement, and, you know, might have done a little bit better. It's still a pretty tough situation to be forced into. Yeah. When you're monster mashing, you really need infantry with good melee defense to be able to... They're like the best for supporting monster fights, basically. Immune to psychology and melee defense are the two things you want to look for most. For Greenskins, you don't really have a lot of units with good melee defense to begin with, so you go for the immune to psychology route or unbreakable in the case of the AP Coloons. But how about that? 123 kills on a couple of really solid Fanatics casts, and honestly, they just do so much damage to the Forsaken because of their low HP and lack of armor. I mean, 70 armor is good. It's not great, but... their low HP means they take a lot of damage from those Fanatics casts, and Black Orc, 61 kills, 2 XP chevrons. The Spider Rider Archers, again, specifically in this matchup and against Norska, they trade very efficiently with, and even against Beastmen as well. So I guess all three Chaos factions, they trade very cost efficiently with your opponent's skirmish cav because you have way more models and you're way cheaper. You have about the same range, give or take. So the Wolf Riders actually, let's go ahead and compare. Wolf Riders trade very well against Marauder Horsemen and Centaurs. Against more like long-range skirmish cavalry, can be a little bit tougher, but comparing them to, okay, let's grab them here. And I mean, obviously, my own first love, or I guess second love in order, but first love in my heart, is Pistoliers. They have, what, 80 range? And I believe the Wolf Riders are, I want to say they're 100. Yeah, so they do actually outrange Pistoliers as well. So maybe in that matchup against the Empire, they'd actually be pretty good also. Let's see, 100 range, I believe, is comparable to Dark Riders. You know, Dark Riders can't really shoot 360, but they do have pretty good melee stats. But again, just because of the cheaper cost and the greater volume of fire of the Wolf Rider Archers, like, you'll definitely win a skirmish engagement there. High Elves, Illyrian Reaver Archers do have good enough range that that's going to be potentially tough. But again, just the model count and the cheapness is very good against the High Elves. So even there, I would recommend bringing them. Lizardmen is maybe one matchup where I don't think they really have a place, to be honest. Norska, again, against Marauders, yeah, 80 range. The Gobble Wolf Riders outrange them too, so against those types of skirmish cav, again, the Chaos is basically the same. Beastmen, we have a look here. Centaurs, Throwing Axes, yes, only 70 range on them, so you can actually trade very cost effectively, especially considering the low armor and lack of missile block chance there. Wolf Rider Archers, they're just like skirmish cav versus skirmish cav because they're so cheap. They have 100 range and a good volume of fire. It makes them very, very good at trading with enemy skirmish calves. So that's it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.